In the news this week, the state government accused of negligence following a legal battle with a police officer.
Plus, the Public Transport Authority rejects a bus-bike plan from Victoria.
And on Western Perspective, the gender diversity debate facing the Safe Schools program in Australia.
This is the Evening News.
Good evening. The state government has been accused of negligence after an experienced police officer took them to court. The opposition is calling the government to look after officers who are declared medically unfit. Eunice Lau with this exclusive report.
A police officer with 21 years of experience brought a case against the state government this week claiming negligence. Mike Thornbury was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder back in 2000 and was deemed medically unfit to continue his job in 2009.
Later, after being diagnosed with something that caused me post-traumatic stress disorder, they put me back into the position that caused it to me to begin with. And as a result, I was medically retired.
There are currently no mental health tests for police officers in the state, but Mr. Thornbury said there should be. He believes conducting interviews with officers can ensure their well-being and safeguard their jobs without additional costs.
The holistic approach is basically the culture of the police force has always been, toughen up princess. So it's a sad reflection on what we're actually dealing with and why I'm here today.
The opposition says more support is needed on similar cases of workers' compensation within the force.
It shouldn't be a matter of putting in a bid to government and getting an ex gratia payment. There should be an entitlement there.
Meanwhile, Mr. Thornbury's case remains unsettled. He says all that can be done now is to raise awareness of this issue. Eunice Lau, WAMN News.
A new kind of public transport experiment is underway with bicycle racks being installed on buses in the eastern states. However, the Public Transport Authority in the West is not keen on the idea due to high costs and inefficiency. Coro Brown has a summary.
The state's Public Transport Authority has rejected suggestions of installing bike racks on buses after eastern states such as Victoria announced a 12-month trial in Bendigo, Brunswick, Essendon and the Mornington Peninsula. During that period, cyclists will be able to put their bikes on the rack mounted at the front of the public buses, an attempt to reduce traffic congestions. Bicycling Western Australia Association chairman has expressed his disappointments over the PTA's stance against the trial.
It's disappointing that they're not even willing to consider a trial, particularly for outlying areas such as Ellenbrook. It's a particularly long way out. They're underserviced in terms of public transport and particularly in terms of bike routes.
Under the current rules, Transperth only allows folding bikes to board buses. Bikes are also not allowed on trains during peak hours. In a statement, the PTA argues that bus bike racks are expensive and only help a small amount of passengers. They also said it would cause delays as drivers will need to make sure bikes are safely secured before taking off. Coro Brown, WAMN News.
The Labor opposition is selling its new job creation plan as unemployment rises due to the end of the mining boom. The tourism industry has been tipped as the major focus by opposition leader Mark McGowan, with plans to overhaul the state's international marketing strategy to attract more tourists. Mr. McGowan has been touring various businesses this week to collect more opinions about the plan.
One of the things we want to do is make sure it's a greater focus on local contractors and local businesses receiving opportunities from the money the government spends. We need to actually have West Australian industry participation plans so local businesses can take advantage.
While Australia is gearing up for Anzac Day, the city of Melville has unveiled its new centenary in Wyllis Hill. Our little cadet Andrew Davies has a preview of what's coming up on the 24th of April.
The City Council expects hundreds to attend the Anzac Memorial, which helps to represent Anzacs at the new centenary here at Wyllis Hill. I've spoken to Melville City Mayor Russell Aubrey about the importance of the service.
Well, we've done some work on this one, Andrew, and I would have thought maybe a few hundred, but those people that have done the work for us are saying that it could be as many as 2,000 people attending here on that day.
You yourself be attending the memorial?
Yes, I'm always attend the memorial services, and I'm looking forward to this one as much as I have to anyone in the past.
Well done, Andrew. Changing pace now, a magnitude 7 earthquake struck southern Japan just one day after the region was hit by a 6.5 magnitude earthquake. At least 9 people have been killed by the disaster so far. The injury number is expected to rise as residents are trapped under collapsed buildings. A tsunami warning was issued by the Japanese Meteorological Agency, but it was later lifted by the authorities.
The fallout of the Panama Papers scandal continues, with the Spanish Industry Minister Jose Manuel Soria forced to step down for making mistakes in explaining alleged offshore interests. Earlier in the week, online newspaper El Confidencial reported that Mr. Soria was an administrator of an offshore company back in 1992. More allegations later surfaced, with other media outlets revealing alleged connections to other offshore havens. Meanwhile, it's not clear whether the alleged actions were illegal.
Now, Dylan, it's not often that we have two boys in the
No,
desk.
it's not.
No.
But, hopefully Danny will be feeling a little better next week, but at the same time, I'm not minding the man duo.
No, neither do I.
Those are the top stories for the week.
More news on our website and Facebook. Here's Nelson Liu. Good night.
Thanks, Ivan and Dylan. Hello, I'm Nelson Liu, and welcome to Western Perspective.